Good day. This is Calvin, Professor C here. So, in case this is the first time you join my channel, this channel is all about helping new mortgage agents making more money faster. Now, I had my video made this week, but then all of a sudden I find that the federal election comes in, and there are like numerous parties like the Liberal, Conservative, NDP and all that came in with their housing strategy today and yesterday and all that. So obviously we are in the mortgage industry. So I just want to give you guys a quick rundown on their policy and how it might impact us, and more importantly, impact your client. Okay, so let's look at some of their policy. So I have take a look at a few of this. So by the time that this financial post, which is 4 days ago, or August 20th post, the Liberal Party has not came up with their policy, which on here it does. So we'll look at the Liberal policy later, okay? But the Conservative one is telling us that, hold on, let me see. So basically the Conservative Party is talking about recognizing, first of all, that the housing problem is not only a supply problem, but not only a demand problem, but a supply problem. So what that means is, before, when they think that the problem is too high demand, people are have a very high demand to purchase the house, right? Then they start trying to reduce the demand by increasing the stress test, making things more difficult to borrow, like making people more difficult to borrow the money and all that. So try to reduce the demand of the market, right? Contrast that to the supply side, like if you make it easier to build a house and all that, right? So there's a big difference between that. So the Conservative parties is saying that, hey, this is a supply side of the things, which we don't see a lot of adjustment in the last couple of years on that. All the policy change in the last few years is geared toward the supply the demand side. So they increase the stress test. They make it, they shorten the amortization from like 30 years to 25 years and all that stuff, right? So that's one of the things that catch my eyes on the Conservative Party. Then let me see. The author of this is saying that, hey, $1 million home. Hold on a sec. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. So that, hold on, too much. Right, so they are saying that Conservative promised $1 million home bill in the next 3 years. Now, on average, we build about $250,000 houses a year. So, without doing anything, they should have 750,000 houses. But so that means an increase, like if it is $1 million home in the next 3 years, that means an extra 250 in the next 3 years. And the author of this article is questioning, is it enough, right? Is it enough? That is a good question too. I'm not 100% sure that is enough. And then they're also saying that building more of the house is important, but building more of the house that people want to buy is more important. because right now, a lot of the housing start is in the condo market, right? But the price of the house increase for detached home, like single family dwelling, like semi-detached and all that, actually is increasing faster than the condo market, right? So what that means is people have a higher demand on the house rather than the condo apartment, but they are building more of the condo apartment right now. So should they switch, right? That's another thing that they're talking about, and I think, yeah, they should. If people want to buy a house, then build more house. Simple, right? And then something that is worthwhile to take a look is foreign buyer tax. So both the conservative and the liberal actually want to propose banning foreign investors to buy residential property in Canada for the next 2 years at least. So that, I think, to be honest, that will have a big impact on the market because from personal experience, I think a lot foreign buyers and investors account for a huge amount of property purchase and transaction in at least Toronto and Vancouver, and banning them to purchase in the next 2 years would have a big impact on the market, right? So is it good or bad? I don't know, but it will have a big impact on the market, I think. And then what else? They are saying that conservative is saying that they will change the mortgage insurance policy as well as adjusting the stress test to assist non-salary and self-employed borrower. That's interesting because adjusting the stress test, like stress test right now, ever since it was introduced back in 2018, is equal. Doesn't matter what kind of income you earn, like whether you're salary income, self-employed borrower, or whatever, it is the same. But this one specifically said that, hey, they changed the stress test for non-salary and self-employed borrower. I don't know. Hopefully that is good, but I guess they also have to look at how the lender and the bank look at non-salary and self-employed borrower. And if they can come up with some lending program that is make it easier for them to borrow, then that could be good. And the insurance, mortgage insurance, yeah, that could help a little bit too. Anyway, so that's the Conservative Party policy. Now today, August 24th, the Trudeau actually come up with his home or housing policy, right? So again, let me kind of increase the size a little bit so that you guys can see it easier. So what he's saying that is he will put in a lot of money in the funding and all that. Something that catch my eyes is a tax for flipping the houses. So let's look at it one by one, right? So here they say that they will introduce the first home saving account, right, which allow Canadian up to age 40 to save 40,000 toward their first home and withdraw it tax-free. So that one is kind of similar to the RSP plan. So I'm not sure what is the difference between that. Withdraw it tax-free. So what? Like RSP is the same thing. At least if I save it in the RSP, you get a tax deduction when you contribute to the RSP plan too. So I think RSP plan, would be better. I mean, money added to the account would go in tax-free and could withdraw without any tax. Yeah, very similar to the RSP home buyers plan. I think this one is even worse. Not sure, why they say that. introduce that. I mean, we have the RSP home buyers plan anyway. Double the first-time home buyers credit. Yeah, that one could save first-time home buyer some money. I think that's good. Reduce the mortgage costs, right? So reduce the CMHC mortgage insurance rate by 25%. Yeah, that's good. I still think the CMHC mortgage insurance cost is way too high. Why I say that is compare that to the default rate. I mean, the default rate on the CMHC mortgage is relatively low, but they are charging a very high fee, right? So imagine a fee that is comparable to, like, let's say a Visa card annual interest, like 19%, 20% roughly. I did a video, almost a year ago, talk about the CMFC and the cost, the real cost, and how much it is. It came out to about 19 to 20%, right? Compare that, but then the default rate is very low, right? You guys all know how credit card, a lot of people don't pay and all that stuff go to collection. But the house, not a lot of default on the house, right? So you charge a very high rate, but you rarely actually have to pay out. So I don't know. I still think that it is way too high. Okay, so that's good. On the supply side, which I mentioned, they say they will build more house and give the city new tools to speed up the housing construction. I think that's important. I mean, I do have friends who is in, developer and all that, and there are just too many red tapes, too many things going on that, building a house took way too much time, and all that. So I think that's good. Affordable housing, that's always good. Converting empty office space. I don't know how much empty office space there is, at least in Toronto and Vancouver. The vacancy rate of office space in Toronto is very low. So I don't know. Total price transparency. This would affect a lot for your realtor friend. Right, so what happened is they are saying that, how right now multiple offer, if I put in an offer, or if your client put in an offer, and there's two other people put in the offer, right now all the price is blind. Like, so you do not know the price that the other people are putting in. So if you really want the house, you put in a high offer and try to beat the other two, because you don't know the other two what is the price that they put in. So that's what they call the blind bidding. And this could cause the price to go up more than it should be. That's what I think. I mean, if you want to buy the house at $1 million, but there are two other people trying to, buy the house at the same time, you might say, okay, well, let me put in 1.05 million, right? But in reality, the other two people, one of them might be putting 1.01 million and one of them may be putting in 1.02 million. So under the current policy, if you do not know the other two what price they put in, you may say, okay, I can afford 1.05, let me put in 1.05. Whereas under this total price transparency, if you know that the guy is put in 1.01 and the other guy put in 1.02, you might put in 1.03 and you could get the house. So blind bidding could artificially increase or inflate the house price. I do understand that. And then what else? what else? They are talking about, here. They're talking about, same with the conservative. The Liberal also say that they're going to ban foreign ownership of Canadian home for the next 2 years. Same thing. Again, that could be huge. He will also have that, talk about the vacancy tax owned by non-residents and non-Canadian. So that, I don't know how much of that would go on vacant. So I don't know. This one is huge. Propose an anti-flipping tax, right? Which require property held at least 12 months or face a big tax. So that one, I don't know about that. To me, it sounds like it is actually doing, not doing something right. In fact, in my opinion, if you have this tax, it basically would make the people held the house maybe longer than they want to. For example, if I want to buy a house and then I want to sell it 6 months later to make a profit, let's say, right? At least the house is now back onto the market, right? But if I have to hold on to it for at least 12 months, then the supply would actually be even lower. And if you have sense of supply demand, if the supply is lower, the price would go up. So I don't know how this would actually help lower the price of the house for people. But anyway, that's how it is. So that's, I think, about it. I do still need some time to digest all this stuff. But NDP say their housing platform is focused on renter. They will have streamlined funding application for co-ops, also and non-profit housing. Those probably won't impact much for us as a mortgage agent. This one, though, it would. For homebuyer, NDP will introduce 30 years amortization for insured mortgage on entry-level home. I don't know what that means. Like, does it mean $1 million home in Toronto? I mean, because that's roughly how much it is as an entry-level home in Toronto or Vancouver. But longer amortization, lower monthly payment. So that's always good. That is, making people